The visits of clergy to Statehouse has disturbed me, and I want to share the reasons why. Let me say from the onset that I'm not opposed to fraternos or associations of clergy being invited by the president to Statehouse. I'm not opposed, but I will explain why it disturbs me and why the church and the clergy in Kenya needs to rethink this whole issue of visits to Statehouse, especially now when we are facing the Gen Z protests, when the nation is crying because of hard economic times, because of this season when there are extrajudicial killings and the government being framed for being rough with its citizens. So the visits of the clergy are not looking to me like innocent visits. There is something that the president is achieving through these visits, and I want to use the chair acronym to explain what game or what optics, political or spiritual optics, he's playing with the clergy and the church at large in Kenya when he invites the clergy in Statehouse. There is something that was said some time ago, kujisafisha na kanisa. See, there is a camouflage, a cover, a cleansing that comes when you bring clergy in a season when the nation is looking at you as an evil leader. So you bring righteous people. And let me bring H. Cleansing, camouflage, and cover is a C. But let me bring H into place. Holiness, association. When you are not doing the right thing, one of the ways of neutralizing the nation is when you bring big numbers of clergy with their cassocks and collars into Statehouse, because by doing that, you are simply trying to neutralize or give an impression to the nation that you are not a bad man. Even though you could be a bad man, if you bring and you take a picture with the Pope or with the Archbishop, it gives an impression that, after all, you are not that bad. So this is the Holiness Association, and it's a political and a spiritual optic, which politicians have used for many, many years. It's not just now. Then there is also A for appeasement. When you bring this clergy, you give them handouts, 10,000, 20,000, or promise to build them, you are simply muting them. And let me go back to C. Instead of being there in Statehouse to be camouflaged, it is an opportunity for you also to fulfill your prophetic mandate as the clergy or as the church. You need to confront sin and giving the president a clear picture of what is happening on the ground in terms of the economics, in terms of the hardships, in terms of the suffering of the Gen Zs. I can draw from what I heard from some of the clergy later. They were defending the president. So it doesn't give me an impression that they spoke to him and represented their constituency, which is the majority of the suffering in the nation. It doesn't come across that way. That's why I'm having a little bit of discomfort regarding those visits. Number two, when it comes to this Holiness Association, he can associate, H for Holiness Association. He will associate with a holy person in order to look like he himself is righteous and holy, while as he is doing A, B, C, D, which is putting him in the category of not good people, but evil people. So did they hold him accountable? Did they hold him accountable? Instead of just sitting there and you are letting him fulfill his purpose, you as representatives of the church, you should not forget your mandate. Your mandate is to be a prophetic voice, to represent God in Statehouse. A, for appeasement. Appeasement. Appeasement, I'm talking about handouts. Those monies that you get, maybe 10, 20,000 or however much, are they muting you and silencing you from fulfilling your prophetic mandate? Your prophetic mandate. Appeasement. Instead of appealing to the conscience of the president to do that which is right, because the 10 Commandments, which is your constitution, are the teachings of Christ. One, the 10 Commandments, there are a number of things. Do not kill. We have young people who are full in the cells in Thika and other places. We have a lot of young people that have died. You are obligated to appeal to the conscience of the president to do the right thing, not just to sit there because your pockets are full and forget your prophetic mandate. You need to call the president and appeal to his conscience to live to the scriptures, not to just, it's not for you to just sit there fulfilling some political optics. You need to be doing something that is representative of the God you serve. So my issue with those visits is it doesn't seem to be visits where you're appealing to his conscience. It feels like you're there just to be, to appease yourself. And I saw some comments online, people saying, these are not men of God, they are men of gold. Very sad state of affairs. A, for appeasement. I, he is infiltrating the community. He's using the church and the clergy in Statehouse to reach the locals. Because you see, in Kenya, people fear their clergy. They respect them. So when you bring them into Statehouse, you are sending a message through them to the common mwananchi that I'm okay. What I'm doing is right. And by virtue of the pastor being there, he's also endorsing that which he ought not to be endorsing. Instead of that, we need to be informing him and inspiring him to righteousness. Because righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. What is he doing by inviting the clergy to Statehouse? He's rebranding himself as an anointed person. The clergy should be in Statehouse to bring reforms. Reforms. We need reforms in the nation. So that is what needs to be happening. So I'm not against the clergy going to Statehouse. What I'm against is that it is being used as a political optic, as a means to an end. Wanatumiwa vibaya na hawajui wengine. Politicians wanajisafisha na hawa wachungaji na wanaharibu jina ya kanisa kwa kwenda huko na kupokea kile wanapokea bila kusema ukweli ya mambo. Hilo ni kosa. Kwa hivyo tunaomba kanisa la Kenya, the church in Kenya needs to rebrand itself. It needs to repent. It needs to redeem its name. If he really, really wants the church, it needs to be representative of the whole sector. And not only people who are yes men, but people who are able to share with him the truth of the matter on the ground, not just things that he wants to hear. So have a lovely day. God bless you and thank you for listening. Bye-bye.